I'm so glad you guys are here with us to celebrate and explore our theme of courage. So let me tell you a little bit about Darryl, and then we're going to bring him out, and he's going to talk about courage. He's talking about courage in the context of our city of Charlotte. So Darryl Gaston is a native Charlottean with strong ties to community advocacy. He has served on the board of directors for the Charlotte Area Fund and the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Housing Partnership. He is currently the president of the Druid Hills Neighborhood Association and is the unofficial and unabashed mayor of North End. Let's hear about that, right? I love it. His passion for the Charlotte community is focused on the homeless, affordable housing, and empowering the underserved to obtain the knowledge and skills to become self-sustaining. Darryl is a commissioned ruling elder at Smallwood Presbyterian Church and a certified instructor of the art and applied science of barbering and hair design. On any given day, you'll find Darryl out in the community rolling up his sleeves to pitch in where needed, educating and helping to improve the residents and city which he loves. Ladies and gentlemen, here to speak to us on our global theme of courage, please welcome Charlotte's own Darryl Gaston. Everybody, Darryl, come on out. Thank you. Good morning.
Hey, look me over, lend me an ear. Fresh out of clother, mortgage up to here. But don't pass the plate, folks, don't pass the cup. I figure whenever you're down and out, the only way is up, and I'll be up like a rosebud high on a vine. Don't thumb your nose, bud, take a tip from mine. I'm a little bit short of the elbow room, but let me get me some. And look out, world, here I come. Good morning, Charlotte. Good morning, Charlotte. Good morning, Charlotte. Good morning. I am happy to be here with you this morning at Creative Morning with our central theme centered around global courage. What I'd like for you to do this morning is take a look at the person to the left or to the right of you and repeat these words. I am so glad that you are here. I see you, and I'm glad that you are here. Yes. You heard it stated that I am a native Charlottean. I grew up here in the North End. Actually, in this very area where we are, my grandparents lived here in the 30s and the 40s. And when I think about this corridor of the North End is the best end. Say that with me. North End is the best end. Now, I need you to do this with me. On the count of three, everyone in the building, I want you to shout out the neighborhood where you live and reside. Whether you're in a house, a condominium, an apartment, a trailer, under a bridge or a rock, wherever you live, I want you to shout out the name of your neighborhood, all right? 1, 2, 3. Druid Hills, the park at Oaklawn. I love it. So we all live in a neighborhood, right? Or a community. Let me tell you a story. I once was the director of an after-school program at a church, and it was called CHIP, Church Intervention Project, CHIP. So one of the teachers in the after-school program had visited with one of the other teachers of the program who happened to live in Druid Hills. So this one teacher was sharing with me that she had visited this other teacher one weekend, and I said, well, where does she live? And she said to me, Darryl, she doesn't live in such a good neighborhood. I think that it's a bad neighborhood. And I said, well, do you know the name of it? And she said, well, it's Druid Hills, the neighborhood where my grandparents purchased a house in 1952, the neighborhood where my mother and my father raised me and my 3 brothers. The neighborhood that I called home, and I call home today. That made me feel very bad that this teacher felt that the neighborhood that she had visited was a bad neighborhood and was not such a good place to live and to play. Let's talk about the word hood. We're going to take away the neighbor part, right? We're going to talk about the word hood. H for helping people, right? In the hood, we help people. We don't harm people. We help people in the hood. O, we help others in the hood. And what do we help them do? We help others obtain the letter D, dignity. Dignity is something that all human beings desire to have and to possess. Dignity is paramount for each human being because at the end of the day, I matter, you matter, we all matter. How do I know that I matter? I know that I matter because Tim and Matt, they had courage enough to think that I had something to say to you all this morning and to invite me to come and to share with you. So life here in the North End corridor that I tout as being the best in, it has not always been so wonderful, great, and fine. But I will offer this. We have the first black female disc jockey. Her name is Hattie Leaper, and her handle name was Chatty Hattie. She grew up in the North End corridor, more specifically in Druid Hills. And then we have another outstanding gentleman. His name was John Lyles. Mr. John Lyles was the first black police officer among one of the first black police officers here in Charlotte, in Mecklenburg County. He too lived in Druid Hills. His house still stands today. And then we move on to the first black female Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools area superintendent. Kathleen Crosby is from Druid Hills, from the North End corridor of the city. And then we have many other people who are just outstanding folk who help others obtain dignity in the hood. So when you think about the word H-O-O-D, don't always look at hood as being something negative, because whether you live on the lake, at Lake Wiley, Lake Norman, Valentine, the park at Oaklawn, Bright Walk at historic Double Oaks, Graham Heights, Lockwood, Greenville, Genesis Park, J.T. Williams, Druid Hills, or Graham Heights, we all live in the hood. Would you agree? And as we live in our various neighborhoods and in our community, more widely the community of Charlotte, it's important that we take this thing of having eyes for people and looking at people. You know, most of the time we live in neighborhoods where we don't even know our next door neighbor. Raise your hand if you know your next door neighbor's name. I'm proud of you. You get an A+. But most of us live in neighborhoods, we don't even communicate with our neighbors. We may throw up our hands, but if something happens, like if we have a tragedy or something negative should occur, then we tend to want to reach out, don't we? Because we're threatened or challenged with a particular situation. I recently posted on Facebook about 2 fires that occurred here in the North End corridor within the past 10 days in one neighborhood. A little suspicious to me. Where's Larkin? Raise your hand. Larkin is my city council person. He's back there in the back. And I said, yeah, give him his props. He has his dad with him today. His dad told me, he said, well, we dumped Larkin off in Charlotte. And I said, well, that's a good dump. We'll clean him up. But we had these 2 fires in Druid Hills, right? I've lived in Druid Hills for about 56 years, off and on, with the exception of about 4 or 5 years. 2 fires in less than 10 days. Our neighborhood once was the place to be, then it became the place not to be, but now it is transitioning back to the place where everyone wants to live because of Camp North End and because of the Applied Innovation Corridor and the Smart District. My grandparents paid $6,000 for the house that I live in, but today it's worth far more than that. We have individuals who are coming into our area, which is a good thing. We have some reinvestment going on, but we also have some gentrification, some displacement of people, right? And this is what I offer, that God is not making any more new land. All of the land that we have, that's it. We're not going to get any more. So some of our residents are concerned about the fact that they may have to move with all of this change that's coming to our corridor. Repeat after me. Change comes slow, but it comes. And that's what we recognize. The residents of the Druid Hills community, as well as the North End Coalition, NEC, we realize that change does come slow, but it comes. And we realize with this change in our corridor that some of our residents will have to move away. That's kind of sad, it's bittersweet. But if one of my residents does have to sell his or her home, we are doing a series of workshops centered around gentrification to educate people about the importance of how to handle your business. If you sell your house, you need to be better off after that sale than you were before then. But what we have predatory investors coming into the neighborhood, befriending some of our residents, especially our seasoned citizens or elderly folk, and then purchasing their homes for a very little bit of money, which excites them because they're what? House and land rich, but they're cash poor. So if you put $50,000 in front of someone, they may take it, especially if this house is in disrepair and needs help. You may take that money, but where will they go and buy another home for $50,000? You cannot do it. And then we have some, everybody say low down. We got some low down folk who come into our inner city neighborhoods and they befriend property owners. And they befriend them by helping them to rake up leaves in the yard and cut the grass and do little things. And then they get thirsty. They want a drink of water. And so they end up in your house, right? And after they get in your house, they identify with the fact that there's cracks in the walls and the foundation is shifting. They identify with the fact that the floor is uneven, is not level. They identify with the fact that the commode in the bathroom, the toilet, is shaking and rocking. They identify with the fact that maybe there's a problem with the rooftop. So then they take out their cell phones. You know about cell phones, right? Take out your cell phone and they're taking these pictures going through your house, right? Then they leave you and they turn your information over to code enforcement. And then code enforcement reaches out to you with a letter telling you that you need to correct A, B, C, and D, these problems with your house, and that you have X number of days to correct this situation, and if you do not, there's a possibility that your house may be condemned and or demolished. This is the reality of what we're experiencing here in the North End Corridor. And then that same person who befriended that individual to get in there and sneak and take those pictures, they come back to their friend all smiling, and they say, maybe the seasoned citizen or whomever says, well, I'm not doing so well today because I got a letter saying that I've got to fix up my house, and if I don't, I may have to move because it may be condemned or torn down. And then this good old friend say, low down. Don't be afraid to say low down. because there's some low-down folk in this world. And it takes courage for me to say that. But if you're low down, you're just low down. That low down person will say, well, you know, Miss Mary, I can help you out. I can give you $40,000 and I'll buy this house from you and you don't have to worry about trying to fix it up. I'll handle this. Well, you all know that's not right. You can never do anything in this world without courage. It is the greatest quality of the mind next to honor. We have to recognize Creative Mornings audience that all people matter. And we have to be intentional about our relationships and how we deal with people and be fair with people. We have to recognize that all people are visible, vital, and valuable. We can live under this sun, we can live under this sky, we can live under this moon together. But it takes courage to do right by people. And right now, with 45 in the office, our culture seems to have shifted. We are now walking past each other without even speaking to each other, having eyes for each other. I intentionally, at the beginning of the program, I was standing out front just to see who came in the door, who looked at me, who did not look at me, who would speak, who would not speak. Even while I was backstage, and I'm not going to call anybody out, good, bad, or ugly, but I was watching who's going to speak, who's going to give me eye contact, and how will they do it. You see my nice designer necklace from Home Depot or Staples or somewhere. But this is my privilege necklace. I recently participated in a workshop that was centered around privilege. And we were asked to go around to 4 stations. And at each station, there were about 10 questions that you had to answer. If you could answer yes to a question at each of those 4 tables, you could pick up a paper clip for every yes answer to the question. Well, this is my necklace. This is my privilege necklace. There was one table that I went to, and I could not pick up a paper clip. It was a table that talked about race. I was a little depressed that I could not say yes to any of the 10 questions on that table, because I do experience racism here in the city of Charlotte. I have experienced racism here in the city, this county, and this state. But I'm so grateful that I didn't just come from a home with a mama and daddy, or a house with a mom and dad. I came from a home. And they instilled in me that I am visible, I am valuable, and that I'm vital. Visible, vital, and valuable. And that's one thing that I have to know. When I graduated from high school in 1979, everybody say, oh. I wanted to go to Barber College. And of course, my parents wanted me to go to Appalachian State University, where I had a 4-year opportunity to major in voice with music as a minor, but I wanted to be self-employed. It takes courage to tell your mama and daddy that you don't want to go off to college, that you want to be a barber and a barber stylist, and you want to teach the applied science of barbering and hair design. But that's what I wanted to do. I checked out my first school, which was, I'm going to call the name too, Hairstyling Institute of Charlotte. It was an all-white barber styling college. All of the staff, all of the students were white. I go in there in all of my chocolate, and I request an application to fill out to go to school. They looked at me. Good morning, Darryl. Well, you know, I think that it's nice that you want to be a barber, but we have another campus over on West Boulevard, and it's called the Black World College of Hair Design. We think that after you finish the program there, if you would like to, then we'll allow you to come to our school. I said, okay. I left. I went to Black World College of Hair Design. I put in my 1,528 clock hours. I graduated from school. I did my 12 months of on-the-job training. Once I went to the state board and got my registered license to be a barber stylist there, then I went right back to Hairstyling Institute of Charlotte, and I got enrolled in that school. I completed their program, did my 12 months of on-the-job training, entered the instructors program, passed the instructors program 100%. They told me they had never witnessed anybody who could score 100% on 125 essay questions, but I did it. Then they turned around and lost my scores in Raleigh and sent me a nice little letter and told me that I needed to return to Raleigh to take my examination over again, which I did and scored the same thing. What? And then I turned around and I went right back to the same school that didn't want my chocolate face up in there, and I was the first black instructor at that school. And I have been a part of developing over 10,000 students that are barbers and hair designers in the city of Charlotte, in the state of North Carolina. And 9 times out of 10, whoever cuts or does your hair, I probably had something to do with them. Not saying that I did, but probably I did. I need 2 people to come up here with me. 2 people. If you're somebody who has courage, 2 people. 2 people, come on, hurry up. 2 people. I am visible, vital, and valuable. Say that with me. I am visible, vital, and valuable. And we are. Come on up. All right, good-looking folk. You stand here. You stand here. Tell me your name.
I'm Brady. And I'm William.
Give him a hand. Brady, tell me about the very first home that you lived in.
The very first home that I lived in that I can remember was a townhome up in Fort Mill. It was my mom, my dad, and my little dog, Lily Grace. She's a 5-pound Yorkie.
Okay, great. Give her a hand. William?
And I lived in 8 years in Atlanta, Georgia, in a 2-story house. It was very nice, and I was very thankful to have it. And I lived with my mom, my dad, and my little cat, Duchess. We all love you, Duchess. And yeah, that was basically it.
All right, let's give them a hand for being courageous and coming up here and share. Stay up here, William and Brady. I want to share with you a story about a man. His name was Henry Miller. Mr. Miller and his family lived on Edison Street in Druid Hills. They moved into the community in 1947 after World War II about. And they were the first black family to move into, at that time it was called Edison Heights. Druid Hills had not quite yet been developed, but Edison Heights was a street. Mr. Miller and his family moved into this home, and one night, the Ku Klux Klan bombed his house. Mr. Miller, he had courage. He did not allow anyone to run him away from his home. What he did, he got a shotgun, and he got some of his friends, and they kept watch over his house. And Mr. Miller, I grew up with one of his daughters, his only daughter actually, but he lived and stayed in his home in Edison Heights until he passed away. And you know, with the change that's coming to our corridor, it makes me sad on one hand because I have some people who are very concerned that they're not going to be able to pay their taxes. So we have done some classes, and we'll do some more classes centered around walking people through the tax abatement program so that people who qualify can get a reduction in their property tax. But you know, when you think about your home, home is a place where we all feel love, we all feel safe, and we know that there's a sense of place and a sense of being. So when we think about our young people especially, if you are older than 25 years old, raise your hand. Okay, so now this is my charge and challenge to you. The way we live out our lives here on earth, it really does matter. What we demonstrate to William and Brady is very, very important. If we walk out and demonstrate love, that's what they will know. If we walk out and demonstrate hate, that's what they will know. If we walk out and demonstrate being selfish and obnoxious and hating people and not loving people because of the type of shoes they wear or because of the way they talk or look or dress, that's what William and Brady will grow up with, and that's what they will put out in the culture. Now, I think that at the end of the day, we all bleed blood. At the end of the day, we all breathe air. At the end of the day, if you don't have blood running through your arteries and veins, and if you're not breathing oxygen, then I would offer that you are dead. Dead. But while we are alive, people, we have an opportunity to be morally courageous in our acts. It doesn't make any sense for us to live in this city of Charlotte without having eyes for people and being intentional about those individuals who are experiencing homelessness, those who are experiencing hunger, those who are experiencing lack, regardless of however it is. Bruns Academy School, where are my Bruns students at? Raise your hand. About 2 years ago, my little small congregation of Smallwood Presbyterian Church collected over $1,000, and we bought blazers for students, for the 8th graders at Bruns Academy School. Now, if that little congregation that I pastor, which has about 40 to 50 people in attendance on a Sunday morning, can do that, what can this city of Charlotte do for Bruns Academy? Far much more. And not only Bruns Academy, but for all of our schools, for all of our children deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. All of our children need our love. There's no such thing as black love or white love or Mexican love or Greek love. Love is love, right? So we need to spread love. Now, to spread love, it requires work. Repeat after me. Stand up. To spread love, it requires what? Work. So repeat after me. Plan your work and work your plan. I know you can do it. I know you can. Plan your work and work your plan. I know you can do it. I know you can. 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 Sit down. Thank you. It takes work, but we have to be intentional about this work. We cannot move through life without doing so. So I would offer William and Brady, thank you so much. Sit down. Thank you. Give them a hand. Love you. Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Think about this. Hugs. 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 Helping us grow spiritually. Whatever that spiritually looks like for you, right? It may be different, but hugs. Hugs are good. As I close, I want you all to know that I greatly appreciate each person in this building. I would also remind you all that each of us has something that we can do here in Charlotte. Each of us has a special gift or talent, offering or calling. And my challenge to you today is to be about your business. Handle your business. And stop trying to be in everybody else's business, because most of the time we think we're in somebody's business, but we're really standing on the outside trying to look in, right? So you let me run my business and you continue to run over the heel of your shoe. And we'll work together at the end of the day for the common good of all mankind. Stand up again. Repeat after me and point at yourself. I can do anything I want to do. Why? Because I am the most courageous person in the world. Now clap like you mean it. Thank you so much. Please know that you matter to me. You matter to the city of Charlotte. You matter to the state of North Carolina. You matter to the world. You are visible. You are vital. You are valuable. Thank you.
Darryl Gaston, everybody, the mayor of North End. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of today's exploration of courage. Next month, the theme is game. We'll be meeting on the first Friday of April, April 6th at 8:30. The theme is game. Thank you so much, guys. One more time. Darryl Gaston, we love you.